The 2023 Rugby World Cup is finally around the corner. This means that the time has come to make the last speculations as to which teams might become the ultimate champions. Will South Africa go back-to-back? Will New Zealand extend their record this year? Or will France shock the world and win their first ever Rugby World Cup after 3 lost finals? Stick until the end of this video as we break through all the contenders for the title. There's no better way to start talking about the contenders for this year's World Cup than talking about the defending champions. South Africa are the only nation along with New Zealand to have won the title 3 times. Having such a rich rugby history, they are always considered among the favorites prior to the start of the tournament. The Springboks have a very well-rounded game and solid game plan, which always makes them a formidable opponent to play against. Even though they are characterized by the physical game they propose with their forward pack, arguably the best out of all teams, their backline should not be underestimated, as they have some of the most talented players in the world, such as scrum half Paf de Klerk. Jacques Nienaber, the Springboks head coach, has one of the toughest challenges of all, making a 33-player selection with all the talent SA has at their disposal. However, should this selection be accurate and accompanied by good preparation, the Springboks should certainly be in for a title fight. If there's a team that's stacked up with big names in their squads, it's gotta be New Zealand. Same as it happens with South Africa, no matter whether their present is great or not, they always show up to the event as favorites because of their status in the history of the sport. This year, though, their history doesn't really weigh to feature them in this video. If there were any doubts as to their level, they've made it clear that they are clear contenders for the title. Filled with talent, the 33-man squad includes 7 former world champions, including 2023 captain Dane Coles and leaders Aaron Smith and Beauden Barrett. Mixed with younger players like Will Jordan and Jordie Barrett, the team is as strong as it's ever been. The depth of talent New Zealand is able to produce allows the team to continually refresh and rejuvenate its lineup, ensuring that they remain competitive over time. This mixture of experience and young talents is definitely set to achieve big things. Characterized by their skill, athleticism, strategic game, and winning mentality, it would be no surprise to see the All Blacks lifting the trophy at the Stade de France on October 28th. We can't talk about the contenders for this 2023 Rugby World Cup and not mention France, can we? Not only do they have a great team, but the French national team has one of the biggest advantages, home ground advantage. The whole tournament will take place in France, so if there's something they will not be missing is the support of their fans. Sure enough, all stadiums will go crazy on every single one of their matches, creating breathtaking atmospheres. It will definitely be special to attend one of those. While their Pool A could be considered one of the toughest, with Italy and the All Blacks, who they'll play in the massive opening match at the Stade de France on September 8th, head coach Fabien Galthy has a core group of players capable of bringing the World Cup to France for the first time. Their big win in their last encounter against the All Blacks late in 2021 is just a show of what the team is capable of doing. The French team is young, in form, and has got a lot of quality and talented players. Examples of this are their halfback pairing of Antoine Dupont and Romain Tabak, who play together in Toulouse. Everyone was looking forward to seeing these two geniuses, arguably the best halfback pairing out of all the teams perform, having the rest of the world on edge. However, bad news started kicking on France. Romain Tabak has been ruled out of the Rugby World Cup due to a ruptured ACL a month away from their debut during a test match against Scotland. If this wasn't enough, there was another injury in that match, as prop Cyril Baille caught a right calf injury and has now been ruled out for 5 to 6 weeks. The 44 times capped Toulouse player's participation is now in doubt and will be another significant loss for the team for at least the first stage of the tournament. All this said, it will be interesting to see how the French team battles these adversities, as well as the pressure of playing at home. If they can manage the pressure and maintain their consistency in spite of the injuries, they will certainly have a chance at the tournament. Not many countries have won the Rugby World Cup. In fact, apart from New Zealand and South Africa, only Australia twice and England once have won this title. Does this make these teams contenders? Well, not really. But given that they always have great teams filled with talented players, it is definitely worth mentioning them. Starting with the Wallabies, head coach Eddie Jones has taken some controversial decisions with this 33-man lineup, leaving some very experienced players out of the tournament. Longtime captain Michael Hooper and talented fly half Quade Cooper will not be traveling to France this year. Instead, Jones will bring multiple players with nowhere as much experience in the national team. This seems to be one of those moves that could either go terribly wrong or in fact have a great outcome. It's just a question of time until we see what the Aussies are capable of doing. While they haven't been great lately, there have been some signs of improvement in their last matches. What we can surely take for granted is that they will put in a fight. The other former champions, England, come from a very strong last World Cup reaching the final. While their present is not the best either, they have a great mixture of young talent and experience on their team, which definitely makes them a force to be reckoned with. Lately, the team has been involved in a controversy with their captain Owen Farrell, who received a red card during their test match against Wales. He was supposed to be sanctioned and therefore potentially miss some pool matches. However, he was declared free to play with no sanction imposed. There's a lot of concern after this decision, which could potentially be changed in the days to come. We'll have to see how this pans out, because if the decision happened to change, it would be a very significant loss for the Red Rose. While we've already covered the main candidates, and most of you will likely think the champion will come out of the ones already mentioned, there are a few more teams worth mentioning that could give a proper surprise. Let's start with Argentina. The Pumas have always been very tough to beat when it comes to World Cups. Their best ever result was a third place in 2007 in a World Cup that was also played in France. This will certainly serve as motivation for the team to perform well again. The present of the Pumas is overall very good, having done a decent rugby championship campaign. In addition, they have what can be considered an accessible group, which they share with England and would play, if things went as expected, against Australia or Wales in their first knockoff match. This means the Pumas could be in for a solid performance, and why not dreaming big with stages they've never reached. Another one of the candidates is Wales. Again, as with Argentina, their best result in a Rugby World Cup is a third place in the first ever event in 1987. They were last tournament semi-finalists, losing to eventual champion South Africa in a very close match. Same as with Argentina, they have what could be a good draw to go deep in the tournament. Their momentum, though, is not the best, as they are, like Australia, in the middle of a reconstruction process within their team. A lot of experienced players on their way out and a lot of new names coming in. Naturally, being in the middle of a process as such, results haven't been great lately, but they deserve to be considered and respected coming into the 2023 RWC. Finally, our last contender for the 2023 Rugby World Cup is Ireland. Current Six Nations champions, one could argue this leaves them as the best team in Europe. In reality, though, it is all very close between all teams. World Cups have never been great for Ireland, having progressed to the quarterfinals multiple times but never being able to advance from there. Could this be their year? We'll see.